No, no, you're totally good.
We all ready? Thank you. The board met tonight in executive session. We're now ready to start the public portion of the meeting. And before we start, last time we had some complaint that people in the back couldn't hear. So if there is a moment when you can't hear me because I am wearing this mask or I am not facing the microphone, just let me know and we'll fix that. I want everyone to be able to hear. Okay. We had one written communication since the last meeting, and that was from Lisa Kohlberg with regard to Spanish Club and Spanish Honor Society. And Mr. Phillips, do you want to address that right now before I continue?
No problem. We advertise for our co-curricular positions every year, and sometimes there's just not an interest for whatever reason. This year with the Spanish Club and Honor Society, it was posted on a couple occasions. I know individuals were approached, but at this time there was no faculty member who expressed interest in advising it. We will continue to search to hopefully find someone to take over that club.
Thank you. You notice on your agenda that Glen Ridge High School's Vice Principal Tim Liddy is retiring effective November 1st. So he's leaving us very soon. And I just wanted to say, Tim has been part of this district for most of his life as a student, as a teacher, as an administrator. And he and his wife Tanya are also parents of Glen Ridge alumni and have contributed so many volunteer hours in addition to his paid position. His list of contributions to the district and the community are long and full of distinction, and we'll miss him, but we wish him well as he begins his new chapter at Clemson University. And I know you'll have more to say about that. As I mentioned last time, we have a board vacancy. I wanted to go over again the timeline for filling it. There's still time to apply, or if you know somebody who wants to apply for the very short-term board vacancy, the applications are still open. But on September 7th, we received the letter of resignation from Dr. Yaros Ramos. That's the official date of her resignation, which starts the 65-day clock that gives us the time we need to fill that vacancy. On September 23rd, we sent the email out advertising the opening through the town and the district email blasts. We will send that out again just in case anybody missed it. We have a BOE meeting October 17th and November 7th. The deadline for applications is October 7th. So this Friday, or I think it's actually Saturday, that's the deadline for applications. November 8th is election day. So we will be, in order to avoid any appearance of trying to influence an election, we will conduct whatever discussions we have on this opening prior to Election Day, but we will not select an individual until we have a special meeting on November 9th. So again, the important date right now is October 7th, which is the deadline for applications. So if you know someone who is interested, we need a letter of interest and a resume. And there is an email address. Winnie, I'm trying to remember the email address. BOE opening. Sorry.
On the spot.
We will send out the email again tomorrow, so you'll have the address. All right. Applicant at glenridge.org.
BOE applicant.
BOE applicant at glenridge.org. Okay. We are in the process of arriving at our board goals and district goals, and board members have contributed their ideas and thoughts on that. I will be winnowing those down into something that is hopefully doable, and with the editorial input of all the members of the board, next meeting we will be finalizing those two sets of goals. And so that is the president's report. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. I just also want to recognize Tim Liddy. Tim and I actually came into district at the same time as teachers. We were both coaches in the winter season, so we shared a locker room. And we both became administrators roughly around the same time. So Tim is more than a colleague to me. His dedication to this district is probably unmatched. As someone who graduated from Glen Ridge, who decided to raise his kids in Glen Ridge, so as a resident, as a parent, as a teacher, a coach, become the director of student activities, and then as assistant principal the last several years. Tim has always put the students first. He just had a passion for Glen Ridge and still does, and I know how torn he was about this decision, but I want to congratulate him. I wish him the best, and normally I tell individuals to enjoy the remainder of the year, but for him it's going to be enjoy the next month. It's moving very fast for him, and I know that's not what he wanted, but it's a great opportunity for him, and I wish him the best. I want to recognize Colin, actually, our student representative. Colin was one of our 4 seniors to be named National Merit semifinalists, along with Ryan Hirsch, Ellis Katzenmeyer, and Avery Kim. So congratulations. At the next Board of Ed meeting, I'll be having the district testing report, and that'll be interesting to review after having several years of COVID and not having the state exam. We'll see the impact of that. And tonight we were supposed to have the student safety data system report. Unfortunately, Jack DeWitt has become ill and he's not able to present tonight, so we'll postpone that to another meeting. And that's my report for tonight.
Okay, we have now come to the first public comment period for comments or questions on agenda items. And just for anyone who has not been familiar with our protocols, here they are. Step up to the lectern and sign in. State your name clearly. Confirm your Glen Ridge residency and any group affiliation you might have. Everyone has 2 minutes to speak, and that will be timed. Kristen, would you oblige me with that? Thank you. If you run out of time during the first public comment or have something additional to say, you get 2 more minutes during the second public comment period. If you have multiple questions or comments, please state them all at once, and we'll try to answer them in order. And also, if you have a written statement, please hand it to Mrs. Murphy so it becomes part of our official record. Now, does anyone have a public question or comment? Yes, go on.
You need to have Colin's report after this.
Yeah, we need to do the other ones.
Hi, my name's Lauren Johnson. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time, just because Mr. Phillips commented on the Spanish club. can I speak about that now, or should I speak about that at the end?
Yeah, you may speak about it now.
Okay. My name's Lauren Johnson. I live on the south end of Glen Ridge, and my daughter Ashley is a junior in the high school this year. She came home from the recent club fair at the high school and told me that there will be no Spanish club or Spanish National Honor Society this year, so she wound up joining the French club. This was a little shocking to me, as she has taken Spanish since she has been at Glen Ridge in the district and is currently in Spanish for honors. She was hoping to have the opportunity to participate in the Honor Society this year and has also been a member of the Spanish Club since 9th grade, and she has loved the energy and enthusiasm the advisor had brought to the club. It was so sad to me that our students will be missing out on these activities, which were some of the biggest and most long-standing clubs in the school. It would be a huge disservice to our students if Spanish Club and Spanish National Honor Society were dissolved for many reasons. I have seen on the public documents the Board of Ed posts that each of the world language clubs and their respective honor societies are being grouped together. So Spanish Honor Society and Spanish Club, for instance, who have been run by the same advisor, is designated as one club, whereas other clubs run by the same advisor are designated as separate from each other and carry separate stipends, such as Studio Art Club and National Art Honor Society. The Spanish Club and the Spanish Honor Society are very different in their descriptions and activities. The Spanish Honor Society is a national academic club which students are invited to be inducted into based on their performance in Spanish class, and then participate in peer tutoring and other supportive academic activities for the school. The Spanish Club is inclusive of everyone and has its own officers and gives students the opportunity to learn more about the language and the culture and go beyond the pure academics. Now, as our district is discussing expanding DEI initiatives, our high school cannot afford to lose valuable clubs that have exemplified diversity. It is unconscionable to me that as our district works to expand on topics of diversity, that they would allow these clubs to dissolve. I hope the board that would agree that this would be detrimental to our students to lose these clubs over a disagreement over how they should be financially supported. They each deserve to be recognized separately and are both big assets to our school. You already spoke to whether the clubs will continue. Have you asked the previous Spanish club advisor to run these clubs again?
Thank you.
I'm not sure which individuals were approached. I'd have to speak to Mr. Lawler about that.
Okay.
Thank you. Other public comments?
Hi, Tricia Akinwandi, have a child in middle school. Piggybacking off of what Lauren just asked, could we also see if there's opportunity for Spanish teachers at the other schools who could be interested? Because it would be a great disservice to not have an advisor to oversee these clubs.
Thanks.
The question was, could we ask Spanish teachers at the other schools as well?
I know at Down Ridgeway they have a Spanish club down there, so I imagine the individual is advising that club. We can certainly approach them and see if they're interested in doing the high school. We do have two newer teachers who are not familiar with the students, so I'm not sure. I can't speak if they'd be willing to do so or not.
Okay, but it's an opportunity so we can expand the search a little bit within the district? Or maybe even to
Correct.
parents?
They may have been approached. Again, I don't know which
Okay.
individuals were approached.
So you'll come back to us, so we'll figure it out. We'll get an answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Okay. That being the case, there will be a second opportunity. Committee and liaison reports. Well, Colin, let's have you go first. The first, the best, we have the best first.
Schools have been open for a month, and the event schedule is in full swing. The high school and middle school club fairs were held over the past 2 weeks, providing students with the opportunity to sign up for more than 40 different clubs and activities. Many clubs were highly successful in recruiting new members, and school-wide participation continues to improve as we recover from the effects of school shutdowns. Many of our favorite fall events are coming soon. This week is a high school spirit week, and each day will have a new theme for students to follow as we approach homecoming. The homecoming football game will be on Saturday against Newark Collegiate Academy, while the marching band will be competing at West Orange High School. The dance will be hosted in the high school gym on Friday, after being outdoors last year due to the pandemic. We're all glad to see that events like these are now back to normal. Looking further ahead, sophomores and juniors will take the PSAT on October 12th, and the college fair will take place next Friday. The fair is a great chance for students to gain exposure to colleges, especially as seniors are now fully invested in the college application process. The school community has been providing a variety of valuable and fun events, each of which are vital to the student experience. And as the year progresses, we are excited for everything that has yet to come.
Thank you. Any questions, board members, for Colleen? Okay, thank you. Let's go around quickly. If your groups haven't met yet, that's fine. But Michael, anything to report? And we have negotiations on October 12th.
We have a negotiation session on
Okay, Jocelyn.
So Grace has not met yet, but their first meeting of the year is scheduled for the 19th of October. It will be an evening meeting. It will be virtual, and that's for the Glen Ridge Association of Special Education. It will be from 7:30 till 9 p.m., and a link will be sent out through I think student services prior to that, or maybe through the district blast. The home and school meeting at Ridgewood happened the first week of school. It feels like a lot has happened since then, all the way back on the 9th. And the next meeting is scheduled for October 7th, so this Friday. The meeting covered a lot of territory in terms of everything that had been going on, hiring at Ridgewood, which has been substantial. A lot of the new uses around the school for like the courtyard and, sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place. Back to school night happened in person, which was a great success, as we discussed at the last meeting. All of these things coming back to normal as we hope. Sorry. So, I don't want to get into too much detail, so I have like 6 pages of notes I'm trying to spare you. One thing that I think is worth noting is something that's coming back this year that has been sorely missed is TREPS, the marketplace, and that hasn't taken place since 2019 because it was shut down just before COVID, or COVID was shut down just before TREP. I'm not making any sense. So there will be 2 TREPS this year. There will be a TREPS in the fall for 6th graders only, and then there will be one that's open to all students in the spring for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. If anyone is interested, please volunteer with the HSA, and parents who volunteer to help with TREPS also get a little bit of a boost in the lottery to select students. So that was Dr. Donovan's plug for that. There was a very successful casino night on Friday and many more events coming up. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Kristen.
I have a few liaison reports. First from Gaslamp, their 101 Dalmatians production for their youngest performers was so popular that they've opened a second section for them. Tickets for School of Rock are now on sale and going fast, and casting is complete for their upcoming production of Elf. They have over 50 of our Glen Ridge neighbors and parents and kids who will be performing in that show. And they're planning to announce their summer camp shows in January, so that's still to come. I had the opportunity to attend the Linden Avenue Home and School meeting back in mid-September. Dr. Caravella opened the meeting with several updates around the school, but he highlighted the Rigamajig. I think I'm saying that right, the Rigamajig, which I unfortunately did not get a chance to play with, I think, last year when we had the field trip. But it's a STEM maker lab, which was purchased with funds provided in part from the Educational Foundation. So another shout out to them for everything that they do for our schools. The Home and School announced that their fundraising project for this year will be for the playground. They're looking to renovate the playground at Linden. They're looking to complete the mural on the back wall. They've completed one side, but they're looking to for help in design and painting on the other wall. Lunch days are back. The book fair was back in person. They're hosting a community service event for new and gently used costumes. That's running through the end of October. Discovery is back. Box tops are back. Box tops are still a thing. But it's there. There's an app now, which is, I was very jealous of that because we were clipping. Mum and Crumb is happening this week. School pictures are coming up. And this coming Friday, there is their annual Harvest Fest happening after school in the Learning Garden. They will have games, crafts, pumpkin painting, and face painting. And then the other thing I just wanted to highlight was the Glenridge Kitchen Tour. I think you guys have all seen the posts and the emails and the information about that, but that is scheduled for Sunday, October 23rd. Tickets can be purchased now for $50, and there's a link where you can go direct to purchase. So I'm really excited to have that back this year.
Okay, thank you. Duval, who saved me by going to the high school home and school meeting along with Jocelyn.
And Jocelyn also, yes. So I will give a report on the high school home and school meeting. Mr. Lawler, we talked a little bit, he talked also a little bit about the club, so I won't go over that anymore. And a few dates coming up are that the PSAT will be administered on the 12th of October at 8 a.m. for 10th and 11th graders, of which my child will be the first, one of those first to take that test. And also that same evening, the high school will be hosting a parent event on teen suicide awareness. So I believe that will be here in the LGI room. I think that's going to be confirmed in an email coming out shortly. And teacher conferences are coming up for the high school October 13th and 20th. He also, Mr. Lawler also reported on the guidance department has a new addition of Mr. Rothweiler, who was a social studies teacher at the high school for the last 5 years. And he is full in. There's admissions panel event that will be happening in January, so that's pretty far out there. He was just letting us know about some things down the pipeline. And talked a little bit about dual enrollment opportunities with Rutgers for Chinese and Seton Hall for French and Spanish. He also explained about a new designation from the New Jersey Department of Education called the Seal of Biliteracy, so that we will now be able to offer that to our students in world languages. Rob Hill also was there, and he had reported on various sports programs. He reminded us that this week will be, there'll be Cheer for the Cure fundraising happening, and it's an Essex-wide effort, Essex County-wide effort. But most importantly, Rob Hill was there to ask the home and school to consider promoting lifelong fitness among Glen Ridge High School students by raising major funds to transform the outdated weight room into a fitness center to benefit a whole broad range of students and even staff as well. So that's got a pretty hefty price tag and a pretty high goal there. So I know the home and school is considering it very seriously. So that was the home and school report for the high school. And then the other report I have is that the Finance Committee met on the 21st of September, and we had an introduction to Bob Gomes, who is our new Supervisor of Buildings and Grounds, and we had project updates on the Ridgewood Avenue school roof, the HVAC project here at the high school, the Eastern Datacom speaker systems at Forest and Linden, and the central school shade structure. That was
Thank you.
that. Thank you.
Anthony, anything?
No reports.
Okay. Tracy? Oh, sorry.
Thank you. I was able to attend part of the Central School meeting, their very first home and school meeting, on September 29th. Dr. Harris reported on the successful opening of school and welcomed second grade to the building. A whole new feel to the building with it completely full. They had a very successful back-to-school night, and the book fair was a success. They discussed the shade structure for the playground and ongoing ideas for more shade on the blacktop in the playground area. She pointed out the website improvements that happened over the summer. And she talked about the new STEAM initiative that's going to be taking place in the building. And apparently October is Ooze, Pop, and Fizz month. So that sounds very interesting. There are many fall activities on the calendar. Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear all of the rundown from the committees, but I know they're hopping busy like the Linden and Forest home and schools are. I also attended the Educational Foundation meeting, which was held on September 21st. It was a combination meeting, their annual meeting, as well as their first business meeting of the year. They reviewed expenses and projections for the new year. And when they moved into the general meeting, they began to discuss some of the plans that they're underway for their anniversary party, which will be held on April 15th, tax day. They also discussed and reviewed some fall grants, and I'd like to point out their generous funding once again of some Orton Gillingham training for several teachers this year. It's a 2-year program, and every time there's an interest, Mr. Phillips comes back to the foundation, and they're delighted to be funding this program. Lastly, they touched a bit upon the popular Thanksgiving race. Apparently, this T-shirt design has been approved. So plans are underway for that as well. And personnel and policy did not meet. Thank you.
Okay, you have in your packets minutes from September 19th, executive session and regular session. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, that being the case, Barbara, I'm sorry, Michael, would you move the minutes?
Actually, I shouldn't move them because I wasn't here in there.
Okay, Tracy, would you move the minutes? May I have a second?
Second.
From Kristen, I think. Okay, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue?
Stay.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Administration, Michael, would you move the admin?
Yeah, I'll move A1.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from Anthony. These are revised policies, mostly revised to keep up with our legislators and changes in the code. Does anyone have any comment on them? Okay, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue? Ms. Gottlieb? Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Tracy, would you move the personnel items?
Yes, I move P1 through P7.
Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
Second from Anthony. In keeping with our rules, personnel items are discussed in executive session. So if, colleagues, you have no objection, we will have Barbara call the roll. Okay.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Ms. DeLue, I'm sorry, Mr. DeLue? Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Michael, would you move the curriculum items, including the addendum?
Yes, I'll move C1, which has an addendum, which is also the second part of the
Okay. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Duval. Okay, any comment on the curriculum items?
Oh, I did, sorry. I wanted to note the, oh, that's what this is, I'm sorry. Getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay. All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue? Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. Van Auburn? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, before we move to business items, I call your attention to the items under B2, which are donations. As Tracy mentioned, the Glen Ridge Education Foundation donation for tuition for 6 staff members to attend 4 semesters of Orton Gillingham certification through Fairleigh Dickinson, which is a $61,000 value. B, I know, Kristen, you have a correction on item B, donation B.
That the donation is coming from the Glen Ridge Boys Basketball Booster Club.
Okay,
Through the Primes.
all right, and that's $3,400. The Glen Ridge Education Foundation monetary donation for 25 fall and 25 spring seats in VHS Learning, $8,000 donation. And the Glen Ridge Educational Foundation monetary donation for 2 additional spring 2022 mini grants for $3,199. So thanks to all the donors, especially our friends in the foundation. I know, Tracy, you will convey that to Fran and company. All right. Duval, would you move the business items?
Sure. I'll move B1 to B6.
Okay, may I have a second? Second from Jocelyn. Any comment, board members, on the business items? All right, that being the case, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Mr. DeLu? Ms. Gottlieb? Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. Van Auburn? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we've come to the second public comment period for comments or questions on agenda or other items relating to the running of the schools. Does anyone have a question or comment? Yes.
Hi, I'm Kevin George. I'm a computer science teacher at the high school. Sorry, I read my name. And I've been teaching here for, this is my 18th year teaching here. I wanted to come up here and talk about the dedication of the teachers, many of whom are behind me. How in the past few years we've been asked to take on very difficult assignments, often mid-year, teaching subjects that we've never taught before or haven't taught in many years. But I'm just going to run out of time and not be able to get to the point that I really want to make here. All of that is very true, but I've been speaking to a lot of teachers recently. Most recently this weekend, I spoke to teachers from all over the state. And one of the teachers said, oh, we just got our contract settled in the nick of time this year. We almost started the year without a contract. And I said, well, in my 18 years at Glen Ridge, we've started every single time without a contract. We've started without a contract and often not settled it until March. That's about 30% of my teaching career has been spent teaching without a contract, not knowing what my benefits are going to be, not knowing what my salary is going to be, not knowing, also fighting tooth and nail, having to come to meetings, speak, have to wave banners everywhere we go, and quite frankly, being fighting tooth and nail and being told by our employers that we're not worth the average Essex County raise. And that's 30% of my teaching career I've spent under those conditions. We're a very high-performing district with extremely high-performing teachers. And this shouldn't be the case. When I told them that, literally jaws hit the ground. And I'd like to say figuratively, but it was literal. The jaws almost detached. They were shocked by it. And the fact is, it's not normal. It's an extremely unusual situation. So my main point here is not the point that everyone else is going to bring up, like this contract. It's that we have to fix the fact that this is the status quo here. That every 3 years we're told we're not good enough for an entire year. And so I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Just bear with me one second. Good evening. My name is Lisa Petruzzi. I am the pre-K teacher now at Forest Avenue School, and I am vice president of this great union of teachers and staff behind me. I'm not here to tell you how great our staff is, because I truly do believe that you and I and everyone in this room know that. And I know that you respect us, and I know that this is a difficult position that we're both in, that we're all in. But yet we're still here. I am here to talk to you tonight about my grocery list. Last week I went to the grocery store and I'm moving my cart up and down the aisle, and I passed by the Hellmann's mayonnaise, and it was $6.79 a jar. I shook my head and I kept walking because thank goodness I didn't need mayonnaise at the time. This week I went to the grocery store once again, and the same jar of mayonnaise was $6.99. Still didn't need that mayonnaise. Went down a couple more aisles, and I went to I had my kids with me, and Little Bites are really popular in my house, and I'm sure they're popular for a lot of the parents here in Glen Ridge, especially in my snack. And last week they were three boxes for $10. This week they were 3 boxes for $13. My daughter Lily was with me, and she comes running down the aisle and throws 3 bags of goldfish in the cart. And I said to her, Lily, we got those last week, we don't really need them. And she said, but Mom, they're on sale. And I said, yeah, but we really don't need them. I find myself putting things back or almost grabbing the things and asking myself, do I really need this? I live in Verona, I don't travel far, and I go to an occasional soccer game or out to dinner on the weekends sometimes, not so much anymore. And it still costs me $85 to fill my gas tank. The cost of living just keeps rising and rising, and according to the news reports, this will continue over the next several years. My tutoring jobs have now turned into necessity rather than me getting a little extra out-of-pocket money. And I know that many teachers behind me have taken on second jobs after working a full day here just to meet the rising cost of expenses. I know you're feeling it as well as all of us too. Our President Biden in August signed the Inflation Act in order to make sure that health care costs are affordable for all American citizens. There is a big push right now to get minimum wage up to $15 an hour in many states across the country.
If you could finish up.
By 2023. I'm standing here tonight not only as a teacher, but as a parent who feels the stress of these costs. If you value us as much as you say you do, please commit to a fair raise that reflects the times that we are living in. And next week, when we sit back at the bargaining tables and the question comes up, do they really deserve it? We hope that your answer is yes.
Thank you.
Well, my name's Chris Savio. I'm a teacher here for 20 years. I just wanted to piggyback on what Mr. George was saying. I've been here for like 7 contracts now, and not a single one of them has been settled on time. And I know I speak for many of the teachers I talk to them every day. It's something we're all confused about. We get praised for being the #1 public school in the state of New Jersey. But then contract after contract after contract, we're offered like less than county average. We just don't understand how we can provide or be the backbone what provides such a great institution for learning, and then we get rewarded with subpar raises, right? And speaking of having 2 jobs, I have 3 jobs. I work 3 days a week, right? During the summer, during the school year, 3 teaching jobs, because my paycheck is less than it was in 2014. And it's, subpar raise after subpar raise. It's really disheartening for me and for many of us, right? I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Good evening. My name is Heather Kobolinski. I'm the Student Assistance Counselor for the district. This is my 25th year in Glen Ridge. I've experienced many significant milestones during this time. The purchase of my home in Glen Ridge, the birth of my children, watching them grow up and benefit from all that this district has to offer. I know that as parents and board members, you feel the same. We want what's best for our children, and we do what we can, often making difficult sacrifices to ensure that they have every advantage possible, specifically a top education and a respected school district. It makes us proud to boast about our rankings and notoriety. However, without well-compensated and appreciated educators and staff, it will not remain so. The decisions made now during this negotiation period, as well as those in the future, will determine our fate with excellence. While we can live anywhere, we choose to live here, and we all live here for the same reason: the reputation of this district and the pride we have in being a Ridger. The people behind me are that reason. We need to ensure the success of our district, town, and quality of life here by making sacrifices to ensure that we can hire, retain, and show respect and appreciation to the educators who make it all possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Caitlin Price, high school teacher.
And Meredith Battisnani, high school French teacher.
Good evening. We're here representing the high school world language department to express our dissatisfaction and frustration with the current status of contract negotiations. With each negotiation cycle, we are all asked to do more with less time, and less financial compensation. For our department, this means less time to collaborate with fellow members about shared instructional levels or to incorporate creative, culturally diverse components. Departments can no longer offer the enrichment-based activities that we used to have in the district. We simply don't have the time in the school day, much less the time to do it well. When are we supposed to pursue, share, and put into practice innovative trends in language learning and other meaningful professional development? Is this Glen Ridge's commitment to excellence?
Showing educators that they are valued keeps teachers dynamic and vibrant in their classrooms and helps Glen Ridge maintain its reputation as a high-performing district. I'm sure that is something that we all agree on. With each negotiation cycles, the educators are always given a rationale as to why we cannot receive better compensation as other comparable districts do, or even the same as the county average. Once again, Glen Ridge educators are being given less in spite of constantly being asked to give more. It is our hope that the Board of Education recognizes the invaluable contributions we educators make in this district with a contract that reflects our continued level of commitment of excellence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Others?
Good evening. Sort of working off of a theme here, Megan Connolly, current pre-K teacher at Central School. This is my 24th year in the district, and I can only recall one time having signed and ratified a contract prior to the end of the expiration of the previous one. And I had been so hopeful this year that it would be different and was extremely disheartened to find that once again, we are starting a school year working under an old contract. It was particularly disheartening after teaching in person for almost all of the 2.5 years that we had a worldwide pandemic, being asked to, I'm an old dog. I had to learn some new tricks, and I did it well, and with, with praise, and I was proud of that. But I really felt it would have been a good sign of respect for all that we did and that we continue to do for the children and families in Glen Ridge to have had a fair contract settled prior to the start of this school year. And I certainly hope we don't have to wait much longer.
Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no further comment, may I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Kristen. May I have a second? Second